Hey, it's Soul, and welcome back to some good old wholesome horrific vision commentary, the ongoing series of videos where I complete 5 chest runs on, well, pretty much every class using only gear from world content and horrific visions themselves. We're back in Stormwind with our half-naked Fury Warrior. He's rolling an item level of 436 and with 2 corruptions, a level 2 Tentacle that has an item level of 420 and a TD level 1. He has a cloak rank of 11 and a neck level of 76. Breath of the Dying is his main essence, and on the side, he's got Condensed Life Force, Purification Protocol, and Crucible of Flame, all of the projectile miners, the pew-pews and stuff. These essences, apart from Crucible, were also bought with Echoes of Nyalotha, I should point that out. For talent, he's running Endless Rage, Impending Victory, Sudden Death, Warpaint, Carnage, Dragon Roar, and Anger Management. Even now, I don't think I really had much logic when deciding these talents, but oh well. For research, he's spec'd for group play, and he's 1 point away from obtaining Gift of the Titans. He's armed with goulash, kebabs, and a couple of cooldown pots. So let's get started. So I started doing this run just right after I completed the Warlock run. So I was kind of on like the winner's high, and I thought to myself, well, this guy has like less of an item level than the Warlock did. He's spec'd for group play instead of solo play, but I should be just fine. That's kind of how I came into this. So I go ahead and start pulling. I just run in instead of mounting up because I wanted to just immediately start attacking. Go straight for this priesty person over here. And I'm employing kind of similar strategies to what I'm pretty much going to be doing for all the other DPS characters, which is to center most of my gameplay around Breath of the Dying rank 3. It is such a powerful essence. So what I do is I use I use Reaping Flames, that's the essence ability, on weaker enemies so that they get killed in a single hit. From there, I get a buff where my next Reaping Flames does double the damage. So it's a great way to clear out lots of small mobs, and you can see that I cleared out pretty much everyone there. Here I am trying to get a glimpse of the potion. It's purple, so I'm going to be looking for black vials. There's a little tentacle that's helping me out there. But yeah, you're going to see, let's see, right here, if you look at my hotbar, it is the 4th key. It's on the top row, 4th from the left. That's my Reaping Flames, and so you're going to see me spam that one a lot. So keep an eye on it throughout this run. So I ran over. I'm trying to play catch up now. So I ran over, I'm grabbing these guys, and you'll see again and again, I'm using Reaping Flames on lower health targets so I can quickly hop back in, take these guys out and move on to different mobs. In the meantime, I'm just kind of AoEing. Lots of AoE, using the essences, all the different procs to get some extra damage out on any of these mobs since I'm doing a bunch of cleaves and AoEs and such. That footman took a while to take down, but thankfully it gave me time to see one of the many black vials that I'll run into here. It helped a ton. So I do advise, there are weak cores out there, there are charts that you can look at. I'll link a Wowhead link below that tells you just which is the good potion and which is the bad potion for your peace of mind. I kind of cheat. I just kind of ask the stream, hey, so what's the good one now? Once I identify what the bad potion is. So right before I go into the Dwarven district here, I take my first of several kebabs that I'm going to take in. Notice that I'm having it in the tainted area, so that way I'm losing a little bit less sanity while I'm feasting. And let's proceed. So I'll go ahead and do a kind of a big pull. I pull up to this into this big guy over here. Prep cooldowns, prep Dragon Roar, and just start going to town on this. Now, of course, something like, oh gosh, I forget the name of it. Blood of the Enemy would probably be a better essence in this case when I'm doing big AoE pulls, so that way I can do some crazy crit damage. But in this case, I opted to not take that route. I just enjoy the feel of having a strong single target in Reaping Flames instead. It gives me a little bit more flexibility, and it lets me prioritize certain mobs, like the really dangerous ones, either high health mobs or ones that have certain effects or cast certain spells that are troublesome. But I'm making pretty quick work here. I already took out the elite. My sanity is pretty much back up to full. Notice that I'm putting some of my focus on the big guy here while I'm cleaving some of these down, but I'm clicking over or tabbing over and using Reaping Flames on some of these targets. I believe I ended up using Reaping Flames on one of the big targets, and you can see that my Reaping Flames is on its full cooldown of 45 seconds, which is pretty unfortunate. You want to try avoiding that when going with this particular approach. Preferably, just use Reaping Flames as intended, either on very high health or low health mobs. If you hit them in the middle of the road and they don't dip under 20%, then you pretty much lose out on a lot of Reaping Flame usage. So with everything cleared out, I'm just kind of going around and taking care of the bombs, but not before seeing another black vial. Like I said, I got really lucky on this run. I think it's thanks to that that I was able to have a very, very comfortable run here. So we're taking care of stuff. I'm picking up a little bit of treasure because I'm pretty darn close. Yeah, I'm pretty darn close to picking up a Gift of the Titans. So if I do, I don't know if I'm going to work up the courage to try and do mask runs on these alts. We'll see how it goes. I mean, between waiting for Shadowlands and everything, it's really up in the air. So anyway, all the bombs are detonated, and we're ready to take on the area boss. I have everything available. Unfortunately, I also have nothing available. I don't have a Reaping Flames buff to rely on, but I do have a cooldown pot. So I think this is what I think I use cooldown pots maybe twice in this run. But I pop my stuff, I pop my cooldowns, Recklessness is going, that little baby Twilight Devastation is running. Keep in mind that that is, I believe, 6% of my life, which is not a whole lot, but hey, it's a little something. It's AoE. It's it's a nice little multi-target attack. So with this thing out, hi Tentacle. With this thing out, I was in combat for a little bit, so I just ran out here back to the tainted area and have my second kebab since it's available. Definitely try to utilize your kebabs whenever possible. Just make sure that you don't have any mobs that are coming towards you, or if you're just make sure that you're not in a bad area either, such as in a lost area that could possibly interrupt your eating time. Very important. Don't let little things like that interrupt your foods. All right, so with that cleared out, we're going off to Old Town, and I'm going to make pretty quick work. I'm having trouble with words today. I'm making very quick work of these mobs over here using, again, Reaping Flames. Since they're very low health mobs, they only have about 140,000 life. And utilizing Reaping Flames, you get a really good sense of counting. of counting just how much life some of these mobs have. So that guy's ready to go. He's ready to be executed, which is funny because I'm a warrior. Playing as a warrior with executes, but I'm using Reaping Flames to a pretty terrifying degree. So I didn't use it on that mob, but I am going to use it here, I believe. So I open up with it, which is not a bad thing to do either when you're dealing with bigger mobs. And notice that I walked away pretty early, just after using maybe 1 or 2 globals. I move away so that way I can get out of her AoE. Once she starts doing her big cannon blast, I just go right behind her and get nasty. In a non-sexual, way. Know what I mean? So she's doing this other blade first. I finish her off, and I take another black vial. Go me. Of course, I get kind of locked out there, but no, that's not a big deal. I go ahead and skip these shadow blades. I go straight for the informant, take him out, and boom, he's gone really quick. Really rare to see 2 tentacles running at the same time. I've noticed that the tentacle procs on my main and other characters, it's extremely low, although on my hunter, it was very high when I would run with him. Very curious. And check it out, another vial. I think this is the 4th or 5th now that I'm having. So I'm going around for this last informant here right before the second elite. Some hunters appear really quick, but I'm just keeping an eye on them. I take out that informant with a Reaping Flame. And I'm about to take it out again. And now I'm going for the elite. Yeah, so doing pretty darn well. So I'm holding on to Reaping Flames. As you can see, that I'm not quite using it right now. Just utilizing my normal abilities. That little baby TD is going, but I do use it in order to get the area boss. I'm sorry, to get the elite under 20%. So that way I'll have it available for me again. A couple mobs appear, but they're not a big deal at all. Reaping Flames is just about off a cooldown, and I'm ready to re-engage. Going, of course, for the informant first. A little bit of cleaving. It's now under 100k life, and it's ready to it's ready to go. So off it goes, and I just move on to the next mobs. Pretty simple formula, right? It almost makes it feel like the game, or at least this part of the game, has turned into something that's just all about utilizing your essences to a certain degree, having the right corruption on hand. But at least at this level of play, Reaping Flames is incredibly powerful. Now, when you move on to mask runs, if you are interested in doing that, Reaping Flames is going to have, it's going to be modified a little bit. You're going to have to keep a closer eye on just how much energy, how much life some of these mobs have. So anyway, we're taking on Shaw. I try to save cooldowns for the first time he does his little disappearing act, so that way I can then pop a cooldown a little bit later. I believe for whatever reason I ended up not using recklessness until almost towards the end of the fight. There is no there's no logic there. I have no idea why I kind of slipped up on that, but I'm still making really good on times. So, but yeah, my Reaping Flames, it's on a bad cooldown right now, but I'm able to clear them without too much trouble once I pop my cooldowns. And I think I had a couple of good minor Azerite procs there. But now we're back in the tainted area. We're about to move over to the trade district. So we're still at 3 bars of, 3 orbs. And let's get that text out of the way. I think we're at 75% sanity about. So I'm passing by this that tentacle. I stopped for a second just to make sure that I get aggro on that tentacle, so that way I know it's following me. I saw the swirl on the ground, so that pretty much confirmed it. And I go for this bigger guy over here. He has the highest health out of any of these guys. But I make fairly quick work of them, just tabbing over, and I'm also clearing out low health mobs wherever I can. Unfortunately, I kind of slipped here. I ended up hitting a high health mob and didn't get it down to 20%, nor did it stay above 80%. It's a funny essence, this Reaping Flames. So achieving mastery of it is definitely going to be worth it. Anyway, I go for this next pack over here. It's kind of a big pull because there's a lot of AoE magic damage going out, and I'm not really doing much to mitigate it other than relying on Goulash. But here I did rely on Dragon Roar to get some good damage out, and of course a little bit of Reaping Flames to help finish off low health mobs. So I'm ready to move on. I go straight for the main guy. So all I really have is a warrior in the way that I set him up. All I have is Pummel as an interrupt, and otherwise when it comes to these agonizing torment channels, I'm pretty much taking it to the face. So I'm just trying to hit them kind of as hard as I can, wherever I can. You can see my Reaping Flames is on a bad cooldown right now because I'm just trying to get whatever damage I can get out. Fortunately, he goes down. I'm still at 2/3 sanity, and I'm looking pretty sweet. A big part of this is definitely thanks to all of those vials that I drank. But anyway, it's now time to take on the area boss guy. And from here, there aren't a whole lot of tools that I can utilize aside from using Reaping Flames just before his Chains cast goes off. I don't really get that opportunity here, given the timing. But I am like ripping him apart. Tentacle is working on him right now. I managed to get a Reaping Flames out to finish him off. And there we go. It's time to clear the rest of these cages and then move on to the last area. So we're looking good. I'm feeling really good after this. A big part of it is, of course, due to Reaping Flames. I think if you took a shot for every time I said Reaping Flames, you'd probably be in the hospital right now. And I'm not even done saying it yet. It's just a really, really good essence for progressing your alts through horrific visions. So if you've seen my other videos, you will see that I'm taking a very similar route that I have been taking for, oh shucks, dozens and dozens of runs now. This is going to be my sixth character that I've successfully have done a full round of horrific visions in both Orgrimmar and Stormwind. And look, another Black Vial. This is the other all-star of this particular run. Reaping Flames, Black Vials, or the good Sanity Vials. They did a really they made them real they made a really big impact here. I apologize. My words are just whew. They're just not coming to me right now. So anyway, we're going to cross this bridge, take out the eye stalk, and then move into the Mage Quarter. So I haven't really been talking about the madness affixes. I apologize. We're dealing with split personality here. They pretty much speak for themselves these days. And really, it's just about just keeping an eye on the screen and really having a certain mastery over your, I guess, peripheral vision. Just keeping an eye on the screen, because with the little pink effect, it is a little bit subtle. And I'm sure that there are certain add-ons or weak auras that you can use. And see right here, there are 2 black vials there. So you'll see me come back here a number of times. So it can be a little bit hard to see when the split personality is going to actually fire off. It's just a matter of really trying your best to take it a little bit slower than normal. Just be a little bit careful, because the time that you lose being hit by a split personality can really hold you back. So right now, here I was just trying to kind of decide, okay, should I go for this pack or should I go for the elite? I opt to go for this pack first. That way I would consider, okay, maybe I'll take that vial before the pull, after the pull. It's just really going to depend on how these particular mobs work out. And they seem to be working out pretty well. I got a tentacle proc, and the tentacle does do a reasonable bit of damage here. The Azerite traits, ultimately, they ended up doing more of the job for me. So in my certain case, since I do heroic rating, it was easy for me to get oh shucks, the Eternal Palace essence. It's the name isn't coming to me right now, and I apologize. So anyway, I'm popping my orb here, and I'm going to pull the boss. Pull the elite with a nice, sexy heroic throw. Pull him over. I think I also happen to use my Reaping Flames there to kick things off, and I just go to town. Pop the cooldowns. I'm not sure if I pop Recklessness. It doesn't look like that I did, for like no reason. I really should have popped it. That would have made things a little bit easier, but even then, I smoked him. I only get 58 sanity back because I had just orbed, and that's all the sanity damage that I took during that encounter. So I was really happy. I was really pleased with my performance during this run. And overall, it's been like it's been a really fun journey, exploring all these different classes that normally I don't really spend time on at all. I just kind of level these up, mash buttons, and that's about it. And then maybe I'll use them to get Felwart or make some money, or do garrison or order hall stuff. Anyway, we cleared out that area. We have a couple more portals to close. I wait just a little bit for split personality, and then it's time to move on to one of the few portal masters that are left. So this guy gets ripped apart. A part of it's I think was due mostly in part to the minor traits, actually. Yeah, these little pew pew essences, they do a good number on folks. So here I'm backtracking because there was that vial that I had purposefully missed in case, hey, maybe something hit the fan, or maybe I got into combat with something and took some extra sanity damage. Here I'm just getting some of that back. And I'm going for one of the last portal masters now. So I go straight for the caster itself. I don't bother with the marshmallow this time around. He's not as threatening in this case, because there isn't like there isn't a lot of heavy shadow damage that's going out. I just need to take out mobs quickly. That's really the deal here. And then, of course, certain things like split personality, those cause their own little problems. So I go straight for this guy, open up with a Reaping Flame. I know that the Rain of Fire is going to go out, so I try to move myself in such a way that when he does throw out Rain of Fire, I can still actually be in melee range of him. Notice that he's not standing in like the middle over there, so I'm able to reach him from here. So you see me moving again a little bit, moving around, and of course, watch out for these mobs. These mobs explode when they are at low health. Or actually, I believe they explode on death. At any rate, just don't stand in those little swirlies, and you'll be okay. I'm trying to keep an eye out for any other extra block files since I've run into like pretty much like 50 of them. Unfortunately, I believe this is it for the Black Vial run. But thank you, Black Vial. Thank you, Sanity Potion. It really came through here. Because I still have 2 orbs left, I'm at 2/3 sanity, and I have the worst split personality ever. Normally, sometimes you can kind of go around them. There's like little tiny gaps, and they actually will not disorient you if you run them over. And even if you do, the way the game works, it's kind of like Fear. You don't get knocked off of that bridge. You'll just kind of, hang out around there. So here I use an orb. I really didn't need to use an orb here, but safety first. I had 2 orbs. There's only so few opportunities that I have to use them, and this is one of those times. So for Umbric, kind of like that one mob in the trade district, there are too many casts that are going off too quickly for me to really be able to interrupt all of them. So in this case, I opted to take care of the arcane missiles and not so much the polymorph. So here I run over instead of like charging. I mean, I definitely can't charge or anything like that, but I'm already halfway there, so it's not a large distance for me to cover. In this case, though, it kind of is, and split personality isn't doing me any favors, so I do a heroic leap. Boom. But keep in mind that heroic leaping over any of those projectiles will lead you to get hit by them. That I actually did not know. So I'm like, cool, okay, heroic leap is just charge. It just looks different. That's great. So at any rate, Umbric goes down without too much trouble. And now it's time to take on one more boss. And from there it'll be time to retire my warrior. He'll be done. So I was really pleased with this run. A big part of it came from the vials, but also having so much practice over the past week or so, starting with the warlock and some of my other characters. Practicing with Reaping Flames really paid off. It's really become kind of like a staple for my DPS alts. So here, there aren't a whole lot of range options that I have. I have Reaping Flames, which I can only rely on so many times, and it's definitely on the 45-second cooldown during this encounter. I have Heroic Throw, and that's about it. There's very little that I can do. So for the most part, it's just a lot of waiting for her butt to get into melee range. It might have been a better idea, actually, if I swapped essences and went from Reaping Flames over to Crucible instead. So that way I would get a shorter cooldown. I can kind of time things in such a way that I can get some strong dot damage when she's doing her casts or chains or this Void Eruption business. But I'm at pretty full sanity. I don't have any extra life, but my sanity is pretty full. I have her down to a little bit under 50% life, and I'm doing a pretty good number on her. But now she's doing chains. I just got to be really careful. Make sure to face an ideal direction, so that way when the Eye of Chaos moves, it's not going to screw me over. But I admit, I don't think I did a very good job with trying to reposition the eye in this case. So here you see me kind of pointing away. And I'm waiting for the eyeball, and it doesn't spawn. It doesn't move yet. So the timing here just didn't quite work out for me when it came to my positioning. As you can see, Illyria's just kind of doing her thing, standing in the fire. I'm doing a very bad job. I'm not even trying to kick these things out. But for the most part, I'm so far ahead that it just doesn't matter because we're done. It was, yeah, so this was a really, this turned out to be a really smooth run. I'm almost thinking to myself that, maybe I can or I should be able to complete Horrific Visions with even less gear or a even lower cloak level. But your mileage definitely does vary between your different class or your spec or the kind of role that you have or the kind of corruption that you happen to be rolling with. Because in this character's case, the corruptions I have aren't great, but they work out pretty well. So I did get a Void Ritual belt, which is great. Not that great, but it's something. But hey, it's my badge and I did it. So this warrior is ready to be shelved for now until I decide to maybe do mask runs on my alts. I have no idea if that's going to happen, but well, thanks for watching, folks at home and elsewhere. I hope that this was helpful or entertaining or etc. And I'll see you for the next vision run, probably next week. I'll be working on the druid and the shaman, and I believe a mage too. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, stay tuned for that next week. Don't forget to subscribe for more of this and all things Warcraft. We'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe, stay happy, and stay breezy.